What's up, people? I am back for another video. We're continuing with the Saw franchise, and I gotta say, I think I'm in for pretty much shit from now on because I did not like Saw 4. It didn't need to exist. The big problem I have with it, it's convoluted. How far Jigsaw was ahead? You're really gonna have me believe John, knowing he was gonna die in 3, playing this well ahead, had all these traps set up. It's just I didn't care. I didn't really care for the story. Um, it didn't need to continue. Saw 3 to me is where it ends. I think it ends perfectly with that film. They do try to tie it back to it because towards the end, Riggs is like the main character. Ends up finding I think Jeff, if you remember from the last film, in the same spot. So basically, it's supposed to take. So it's kind of a prequel to Saw. It makes no sense. It's so convoluted. They should have stopped at this point because now, and also it does. We're getting to the problem where it's just about the kills at that point. Like you don't necessarily need to watch this movie. You can just watch the kill compilation of this film. It's out there on YouTube. It's all you need to do. You don't need to watch the film. So Jigsaw basically planned all these traps before he died, and Riggs, we find out Eric Matthews from the last, I think it was Saw 2 actually, is actually still alive, but he's rigged with a trap. And one of the I'll be honest, I was not paying attention to the names, so I'll just say Black Cop. I only really remember the main character. I don't the main cop that's been, I think his name is Perez. Okay, Perez or something like that. Basically, is forced to play Jigsaw's game to try to find Matthew. And throughout the film, he finds, and this we get a little bit of Jigsaw's backstory because we see his ex girlfriend in the film. Jill is her name, if I remember, and um, basically, it wasn't needed, man. I like Tobin Bell. He still delivers, has such a chilling voice. So that's like the only positive I really have for the movie. And the score. Score is pretty good. But aside from that, it's not a good film. It was cool seeing it tie back a little bit. As you see Carrie, they find Carrie's body from the last film. But it's like it just was not necessary. Saw 3 ends it perfectly. You didn't need a fourth one, especially if this is what we got. So now I'm just like, I think it's going to be pretty much shit from here on until Saw X. So we'll see. It's already like, I'll admit, the trap where this is in the scene, one of probably his earlier kills, where he kidnaps a guy because he's a druggie who ends up in a fit of rage, accidentally causing a miscarriage of his girlfriend because he slams the door because he's trying to get out on her stomach. And he ties into a trap, which is like all these like 4 or 5 knives rigged like to slice. And I'll admit, that looked cool. That was a cool looking trap, but it was, I don't know. I just didn't care. I guess 4.5 out of 10. It wasn't horrible. I mean, that's bad, but it's not like awful. I just was not into it. I think fundamentally, Saw just didn't need to expand. There was not lore like there is with like Michael Myers or Jason. So at least with those characters, you could justify the sequels existing in the sense it adds to the character's lore. But you didn't need that with Jigsaw. And I can even agree that it could have usually just been one film, but I'm fine with it being 3. Because I think Saw works as a trilogy. It didn't need more. And then we get a reveal that he had another apprentice besides Amanda, which is stupid. I don't like it. Now you're just overcomplicating it. That's the other problem I have with this. It's just overcomplicating it. Now you're going to have me believe Jigsaw had another apprentice? Come on, man. Ugh. When would you... It's so convoluted. They over convoluted the plot with these movies, and I have a feeling that's where it's going to be. It's going to probably get worse from here. So, but anyway, so 4.5 out of 10, not good. But I would say with Saw, guys, either just watch the first one or just watch the first three and just watch it as like a trilogy, and it works. Because I don't think you need more. Especially, yeah, John's dead. You're just hearing his voice with basically, these are recordings, so they're pre-recorded. So it's like you're just hearing pre-recorded John Kramer. It's not the same. 3 works. He dies in the end. I'm okay with that. So tomorrow I'm gonna be doing Bad Movie Wednesdays with Plan 9 from Outer Space and just seeing a reaction to it. Bruh, I am in for a fucking shit show. But I've seen Ed Wood. Ed Wood's a great movie. Maybe sometime soon, since we are reviewing that, because it is about the director who made that movie. I might, not, maybe next week. I'll see how, maybe next week. Probably not next Wednesday, because Wednesday I'm still trying to keep. So maybe like next Thursday, we'll review that one. I'll review Ed Wood maybe next Thursday. Since it makes sense, since we're talking about Plan 9 from Outer Space anyway. But yeah, so I'll be reviewing that tomorrow. But let's get into Saw 4. So the movie opens basically, it starts basically where the third movie ends. Police, SWAT raid. Sorry about the fucking spit by accident. Fucking he ends up finding Jigsaw. We see his body get cut up, and we see a tape fall out, which is pre-recorded, and then we cut to 2 men rigged to this trap, and their mouths are sewn shut, so they cannot communicate. So the only way to get, they end up, Art, I think Art was one of the names. Art and some other guy, and the key's on the back of the other guy. They end up fighting for the key, fighting for survival, which I guess that part was kind of cool to watch, but I think it was like from the beginning, I just was not into it. I just think because the idea that Jigsaw had all this shit free, it goes into what I'm from here a lot of the later films is you're really telling me that John had he was that much ahead. It was getting retarded, and I can already see it coming. Just for this, I was just like, so he had this all set up before Saw 3, or around this time. It was, no, that's why I'm like, you should have just not made another one. Something tells me that Saw 3 was originally the end, and it probably made money, so they're like, oh, we gotta make more. And here's the problem. They just should have ended it there. Because now you're just overcomplicated the story. Especially when you really didn't have John in it. Besides, like, oh yeah, you have flashbacks, which to me, I didn't need. I didn't really need to know about, like, he had a girlfriend. And I do like the scene where we see him, just a little bit later, in one of the flashbacks, you see him at this place, and he picks up, like, a doll, and it looks like, obviously, the puppet. Billy the puppet. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But I didn't need to necessarily see, I guess, the inspiration for, but I didn't need to see that, and I just didn't. So basically, they end up finding Carrie. We also find out that, Eric Matthews, Detective Matthews, I know that name's confused, because when I think Eric Matthews, I'm thinking fucking Boy Meets World, Will Friedle's character. But yeah, so he ends up, we find out that he's alive, but he's rigged to a trap, and that one of the, a man, I'm just gonna say black dude, because I do not remember his name, is, attacked in his home, his wife taken, and basically has to find her, and to do that, he has to play Jigsaw's game, and throughout the film, he has to base. It's kind of like similar to, if you remember the third movie where they did that with the other guy with Jeff. They did the same thing here. It's like he has to play the game and either try to say that one of them starts with a stripper who's rigged to a trap, who he does end up saving. Then the next one is this motel clerk who's actually a serial rapist, and you see like Jigsaw rigging the traps, like not Jigsaw, but like there's like writing on the wall. Feel like throughout the film you see him have a flashback, and his son ends up having a miscarriage because a druggie ends up taking some drugs, and then he runs out, and during the scuffle he slams the door on his wife's stomach or girlfriend's stomach. So this is basically revenge for that, and that's when he starts rigging the traps, and we see him kill the druggie with this. I know this is a little bit later, but that, I'll admit, the blades were cool, and then he ends up falling in this like barbed wire. And this is where they interview I'm trying to remember the main character's name. I think it's Riggs. Sorry, mine went blank for a second. Riggs is interviewing Jill, who's Jigsaw's girlfriend, and that's when you see her. When you there's shots of when you look at her, they go to like the flashbacks, which were just annoying. It was cool seeing Tobin Bell, and like I said, the one kill with the blades was cool, but I didn't need this. This is one of those things. If you're gonna be a needed sequel, you gotta justify your existence and why, and they didn't, in my opinion. This is definitely a cash grab. They saw Saw 3, the money was getting progressively better, so like, we gotta do another one, and it just wasn't needed. Because that's what it becomes, and it just, with this, and like I said, the fear I'm feeling that they are just gonna fucking go to just being just kills, and the story isn't gonna matter. They're gonna overcomplicate it, because what I hear, Jigsaw basically is ridiculously for how far John Kramer ahead his plans are. It's ridiculous. It's like, okay, you're just convoluting the story, and that's what I think. In my opinion, horror should not be convoluted. I think that's one of those genres. 9 times out of 10, you keep it simple, it fucking works. Halloween, Jaws, First Scream, all those movies have one thing in common. They were simple. Even although the first Saw in there. It had a little bit of twists and turns, but it was still a very simple story. So it's simple story just works sometimes, especially with horror. You don't need to complicate it. It's that when you do that, that's when you get where, and I fear this is one that felt like was going that direction. Because we get the reveal later on because we see the lead up to how he set up the tape. We find out that Jigsaw had a secret, another apprentice, which to me makes no sense within the films. So like, where was this guy? We would have seen him. That definitely felt like a last minute change, because they were like, we need to have a twist, so we're gonna say, oh, Jigsaw had a secret partner, which was stupid. I didn't need to see that. So, I'll just skip to the ending, because it's really a lot of just people dying throughout the film, with the traps, which the one trap where because we end up seeing the black cop have to save a couple. I think Ken is his name. He basically got off getting off his family. It turns out there's a lawyer. They all had the same lawyer who let them all out, and I'm sorry, guys. I usually try to be more and more descriptive. Just this movie, when I'm not into it, I'm not into it, And they all end up ending up at this warehouse. That's where basically everybody confronts each other. Perez and the cop end up shooting each other. Well, not shooting each other. Perez ends up getting shot because they made it too late, and Eric Matthews basically ends up getting killed. He gets crushed, his head crushed with an ice, which visually that was pretty crazy. And then we get the reveal that the other cop that was there was actually Jigsaw's apprentice, which it didn't hit. You could tell they were going for like a twist ending, and 9 times out of 10, when you try to just straight up, I'm gonna write this twist and I'm gonna go for it, you gotta make it make sense. When you just go and do it and you just care more about having a twist of your movie and you don't care about it make sense, it's a cringe twist. And that's what this was. I didn't care. It was like, oh, okay, he was in it, okay. And they even hit the music and it just doesn't hit the same. Like you're trying to recreate that, music from the first one, right? That moment from the first where, John Kramer's revealed. It's like, and even in the second one, where Amanda's revealed, I felt like that's how you do it. This reveal I just didn't care because this movie didn't need to exist. There were some cool kills, and like I said, the knife fucking trap was cool, and then him ending falling. Like there's some cool kills, but you just do not care about the story at all. Like it just is generic. I don't hate it. Like I'm not mad at this movie necessarily, but I just, Saw 3 is where it ends, and for me, canon-wise. And then maybe Saw X, to me, if you want to say what a Saw 4 is, that's Saw 4 to me. So, I can acknowledge Saw X is like almost the unofficial 4th Saw movie. But, I can't, this one, and I feel like it's going to get worse from fucking here. Where the kills might be the only fucking highlight of the movie. And I'm sorry, like, I love cool kills, but that's not the only thing that makes a good horror for me. Like, slashers, I'm almost like the only exact opposite, because that's what the franchise was made for. But Saw isn't just a gore fest. It didn't even start out as that. It was always like this, more about the story. And even the second movie, it still carried over well. But then, the third one can work as a conclusion. But these are just, they care more about the kills, but also overcomplicating the story. Because how far Jigsaw was ahead is just ridiculous. So, okay. So, Eric Matthews ended up getting... Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I just spoiled the end. So, we get the reveal. We get, like, another, like... They played another tape with, Kramer's voice. And it's, like... The only positive I really have is that Tobin Bell was good. That's about it. I just was not into this movie, and I feel like it's going to get worse from here. So, 3.5 out of 10. Pretty bad. 4.5. Sorry, not 3.5. 4.5 out of 10. Still not good. But, yeah. As long as it's not as bad as the Hellraiser sequels, because I'll be honest, that was painful to get through with those movies. So, if this can marginally be better, maybe. We'll see. But tomorrow, Plan 9 from Outer Space, which I'm going to be honest, just watching clips of it, I think I am going to have fun roasting it. It looks like it's going to be a fun, bad movie. At least just from what I saw of it. So we'll see how it is all the way through, but I'll be reviewing that. Next Wednesday will be Velocipassion, and man, I'm going to have fun with that one. that one's fucking out there. I was going to originally do that this week, but I figured this would be a better one to review, because I just kind of saw someone talk about it. I'm like, you know what, we'll do this one. So anyway, I'll be doing that tomorrow. Thursday we'll be doing Crank, and then Friday I'll be reviewing Argyle, because I'm gonna be, more than likely gonna be seeing it Friday, and then I'll review it Friday, and I'll figure out what we'll do on the weekend. I did find a screenwriter article, but I might wait to do that one. We'll see, because it is like a list, and I'm not gonna be where I usually do the screenwriter articles, so I can't do that one there. So I might. This weekend I might find something else to talk about. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna call it here. I'm gonna say it again. I think we're gonna get worse with the Saw movies. I just have a feeling, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. But tomorrow. Peace.